Everything that I need to make YouTube videos while I'm traveling around fits inside of this tiny little case right here. You're ruining it. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Talon and I make new videos every week doing all sorts of stuff. Today we're talking mainly about camera gear that I use while I'm traveling, specifically plane travel. I'm currently in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania with my fiance. She's getting ready over here in the bathroom. We're in a pretty swanky hotel. So this place is cool. I wanted to bring you guys one last video before we dive into 2025. And since I'm traveling, I'm gonna be getting on like 5 more flights in the next 30 days. And because of that, I can't travel with all of my camera gear that I use to make YouTube videos. So I have sort of condensed everything down into this little package right here. This encompasses both photography and videography while I'm out on the road. Mainly this right here. I could film all of my YouTube videos with just this case. That fits in here perfectly. So we're gonna dive into this. It's not really going to be a specific review of these cameras, some of the stuff you've seen before, but I figured maybe you guys also travel, maybe by plane, and you're trying to put together a kit of your own. So, first and foremost, this case may look kind of familiar to you guys. It is basically a smaller version of what I use when I'm driving around the country. I like to keep all of my gear protected and secured all in one place. And generally, instead of using backpacks, I've been using Pelican cases. So this is a smaller version of my typical case that I use for photography and like big camera videography. This is the Pelican Air Case 1485. It's just a little grab handle on the side. There's no wheels or anything on this guy, so you're not going to be wheeling it through an airport, but it is about the size of a personal item on some planes, if not definitely way smaller than pretty much any carry-on out there. So this is everything that I've been using while I'm over here on the East Coast. Now you can buy these Pelican cases with a few different setups, pick and pluck foam, completely bare, or in this case I'm using a Trek pack, which you may have saw in my photography video kit setup. And then Pelican does not actually make a lid organizer for this yet, but a company called Color Case does. So this is simply held on here with some 3M, and it's a simple lid organizer. So instead of foam being up here, you have the customizable foam down here. I can basically switch this out to be video and drone kit. Right now it's video and photo kit, and it's everything that I need and nothing that I don't. So before we get into the video setup, because that is what I'm probably going to kind of talk about the most, for my photo setup, this is redundant comparing it to my photography video, but this setup right here is one of my main setups, the Leica SL3. I shoot basically every single photo with this body right here, and I have 2 different lenses with me. I've got a few extra batteries too with a charging dock. Everything fits in here really nicely. So with the SL3, I wanted to have 2 different lenses, a prime and a variable. So right here I have a 24-90, which is going to be good for a lot of the vehicle photography that I'm going to be doing. It can be fairly wide. You can punch in as well, get a little bit of compression. So this has been a really handy setup to have with me while I'm over here on the East Coast. Lens hood, lens cap, body, lens itself, everything completely wrapped in Psy camo. And then my absolute favorite lens to pair with that body is this guy right here. This is a 75 prime. It is a f2, and the shots that you can get with a lens like this, it's just so crispy. Really, really nice bokeh, kind of milky backgrounds, and I can shoot really detailed stuff. I can shoot wide stuff with this just by walking around a little bit. Speaking of walking around, you're in your pajamas. Show everyone your pajamas. By the way, it is noon and you're in your pajamas. It's that week between Christmas and New Year's, so you can do whatever you want. Free conch, do what you want. But also, you gotta get ready because we're leaving soon. Now we're getting into the video setup. This is where I need to have a little bit of a story time, and it's kind of interesting. There's already a ton of information out there about this camera setup that I have been using, and I actually made the switch to this right after it released. It was the end of last year, so the end of 2023, and I filmed like 4 or 5 videos with this specific camera setup that I'm talking into right now. Hopefully it looks good. No one has mentioned anything about really a change in quality. So typically I'm shooting all of my videos on a Canon R5 with 2 different lenses of 15 to 35 and 24 to 70. That's like my main video setup, but I've been traveling a lot and having a mirrorless with 2 different lenses for photography and then a mirrorless with 2 different lenses for videography. It ends up being a lot. I would have to have a much larger case, and it just ends up being too much. I could basically film a full video with just a DSLR and 1 lens, but I switched to the setup that I'm talking into right now. So I'm not sure how I'm going to show you guys this because obviously I'm filming on it right now, but in this little case right here is everything that I need: microphones, batteries, a lens, different filters, and everything that I need right here. So if I wasn't shooting photography, or if I just didn't really care about having a nice camera, I would just shoot like thumbnails and stuff on my cell phone. However, this right here houses what I need for video, and this is a kit that I got on Amazon which fits a DJI Osmo Pocket 3 and all of its accessories in here. I'll probably roll in some B-roll just from my cell phone because technically that is another camera that I use sometimes while I'm traveling. So this case is cut out for everything that you need. You have a lot of memory card slots, micro SDs on the left, and then you could run full-size SDs too, so I have an adapter in there. There are a few different kind of randomly sized pockets up here where I store all of my microphones and the wind socks that they come with. Now, a lot of the stuff in here comes with the Osmo Pocket 3 Creator Kit, so you have things like a little case to store it in, all of the charging cables, an extended battery grip, as well as a mini tripod, which is actually really nice. I'm not currently using it right now. I've got something else for that, but this thing is super handy to have with. You have a shorter grip, which has a thread adapter on it, so I have an Arca Swiss plate here for a larger tripod that I'm using when I'm outside and it's windy. I'm using a Peak Design tripod for that, and I don't even have it with me because of the other tripod that I'm currently using. The Creator Kit also comes with DJI Mic 2s, so here is one of those units right now. The other one I'm talking into, and the audio is really good on this. They pair up really seamlessly, and I've already been shooting with DJI mics, so all I did was pull one out of my other kit. I actually have 3 of these mics, and it fits in here perfectly with the magnet mount, the little wind sock adapter, and I like these a lot more than the Rode Mic Goes, I believe is what they were called, the video Mic Goes. I was using those for a while, but the windscreens never stay on, so this is just a much cleaner setup, and I just paired this directly to the camera that I'm talking into, Osmo Pocket 3, and it worked out really well. Underneath here, I also have like a cleaning cloth. That's where I keep extra charging cables too. I have a USB to USB-C, and then USB-C to USB-C. And then last but not least, down over here on the side, I have the wide angle adapter. So let me throw that on there. Gives you a little bit of a wider field of view if that's something that you're into, but generally I'm just shooting with the camera right like this. And then I have 2 different filters over here from K&F. There's no point in me putting these on right now, but one of them is a variable ND that goes from 2 stops all the way to 32 stops. This is super important when shooting outside with this camera because a lot of times things end up being overexposed, and if you don't know how to film properly with this camera and color grade, you're gonna miss a lot of shots. And then another one, which I haven't even really used yet, but for vehicle videography, I have a polarizer here, which will get rid of glares on windshields, windows. It'll kind of correct the color of the paint. So instead of being super glary, it will cut down on that glare, and it will just make things look more natural to what you see with your eye on camera. So that case is really all I need to make videos. That's all I'm using to make this video, plus I guess maybe some shots on my cell phone. And then up here in the lid organizer, I have a lot of other accessories. So starting over here on the right-hand side, I have a simple suction cup mount. So you can mount this to a windshield, a hood, slap it on a fender, something like that. Obviously, I'm shooting a lot of car stuff, so you will see some shots using that setup right there. Next to that, running across the top, I have a cell phone holder for the tripod that I'm using, and I will show you that in a second. I also have kind of like a cage. This snaps to the body of the Osmo Pocket 3, and then it has a little kickstand that drops down. It has an action camera mount on the back here, so I could put this on another kind of tripod. I could use basically like a GoPro mount with this. But the kickstand on here is also magnetic, so I can slap this on a fender, basically anything steel, stick it on a fridge, on a light pole. If you're vlogging, this would probably be a good accessory for you to have. The Osmo Pocket 3 is also a very good camera for people who are getting into videography. You want to start a YouTube channel, you want to vlog. It's relatively inexpensive, and there's a lot of stuff that you can do with it once you dive into the settings. Now over here I have a true DJI accessory, kind of similar, action mount on the back that snaps to the body of the camera, but then it has a cold shoe over here. So if I didn't want to use the internal mics on here, I try not to, because these mics, DJI Mic 2s, just sound so much better. You could actually mount this microphone in the side here and kind of hold it out and vlog. You're gonna have to adjust the gain levels and stuff like that to get good audio, but that is why I have that in this case as well. Down here I have a charger, and I use this charger for everything. It's really high output, so I charge all of my cameras with it. I can charge my Leica camera with it. I can charge the camera batteries with it. I can charge my computer. I can charge my phone, my iPad. Basically everything can be done with that, and that actually came with a drone, DJI drone, which I don't have in this kit right now. And then last but not least, over here I have a 5 terabyte SSD because I am recording in 4K. The files get huge, so I need to keep my computer clean, so I have that. Huge. And then right here I have an SD reader because I like to edit my photos that I take with the Leica on my iPad. So USB-C, throw the memory card in there, and then I can edit my photos right there on my iPad. Now switching the camera angle a little bit, I'm now using the tiny little DJI tripod to show you the tripod that the camera has been sitting on. This thing I got on Amazon. I got basically everything here on Amazon, so if you guys are interested in this stuff, I will leave some links in the description down below. This is a tripod that is just kind of like do it all. I can use it as a monopod kind of selfie stick, so if I mount the camera to this, it swivels and I can basically hold it out in front of me. The camera is super lightweight and small though, so it's not super necessary. And then if I twist this collar, it extends out into a kind of mini little tripod here. This thing is huge, so when I'm standing up talking about vehicles or whatever it is, this thing is almost eye level with me. As long as it is not windy outside or I don't have a heavy camera sitting on it, this thing has been great. It actually fits inside of this kit, and then when you're done with it, you spin the collar and this thing collapses down on itself, locks into place. And then over here in the video kit, I just added these 2 little Velcro ties. I put these Velcro ties on basically everything, all of my cables and stuff, to keep them neat, and then I strap it in place right there and the lid is able to close. So that is basically how I run this entire kit. Not only everything that I need for video, but everything for really nice high quality photography as well. And I've been liking this setup. I've been using this for a while. Again, I've been filming with this camera in a majority of my recent videos and no one really tells the difference. So let's actually talk about some things that I do with this camera to make it a little bit better. I'm really getting the most out of it because of the settings. All right, now hopefully this is working. Another cool feature with the DJI mics is I'm recording directly to the microphone right now, so I don't even have to have this recording to get good audio. I've never actually done this before, so hopefully this is working right. If not, it's just going to be my cell phone audio, which sounds like this. So hopefully the audio is okay. So this is the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. It is a absolutely tiny little camera. It is definitely very pocketable. You have a joystick, a record button, a few microphones found around here. And then to turn this camera on, you can use the record button or simply twist it and boom. It looks like the microphone just connected automatically, so hopefully that didn't disrupt the recording. and this is basically what we're working with here. Now, again, this isn't a review of this camera. These are just some settings that I like to use, but basically I always want to be recording in the highest resolution possible. So here we have 4K, 60 frames per second. Generally, I'm actually recording in 24, so everything that you must have saw there was probably in 60, which is fine. Another cool feature with this camera, if you haven't seen it, when you close this, you can continue, and now you can actually record in a vertical fashion like this for Instagram, whatever, TikTok, just a 9:16 aspect ratio. The thing with this is it's going to switch to a 3K resolution, so if you wanted to keep it in 4K, basically you would have to turn it like this. The camera doesn't like it because it's not really intended to do that. If I triple tap this, it will turn the camera around. There you go. So now I can record in 4K, but I'm holding the camera kind of goofy. So that is one way around it, but then hold it back up. A double tap will recenter it. Triple tap will flip it around to selfie mode. This has face tracking, which is kind of cool, but one of the main things that you want to know is that when you swipe over here to your settings, you basically want to be recording in D-Log all the time. 10-bit color, if you're not familiar with color grading or anything like that, this may be a little bit of a learning experience, but you can get a Rec 709 conversion over on DJI's website, and shooting in D-Log was the biggest advantage of me using this camera. It's only a tiny 1-inch sensor, as you can tell, gimbal of course, so you can get really smooth shots with it. There are a ton of effects. There are manual exposure settings, so right now I have it set between 50 and 400 ISO. You can adjust that accordingly depending on your environment. You could run in full auto, which I did initially, like last year when testing out this camera, and I didn't like it. It wasn't until I started shooting in log that I really found the full benefits of this camera. So you also have a lot of other modes that you can go into. The low light mode in particular is really good. I don't use it a ton because obviously I don't really shoot videos at night, but when you're walking around the city at night, you can get some really nice crisp shots out of it. I have some custom settings over here so I can jump to them really quickly if I want to. Slow-mo, 4K all the way at 120 frames per second for that ultra smooth, crispy slow-mo. You have panorama modes, a photo mode. It's not great because of that 1-inch sensor. And then you also have hyperlapses where you can move the gimbal while you're taking a time lapse or a hyperlapse. So some pretty cool stuff there. I'm generally just recording in 4K 24, just like this. D-Log M, I do a little bit of color correction and stuff like that to make it look better, and this is the setup that I've been working with. Turn the camera off by twisting the screen. The gimbal will position itself in a way so that the lens is protected. You can throw this thing in your pocket and you're good to go. So that is my complete travel setup as of right now while I'm traveling around. I'm going to be filming a lot more videos with this specific camera just because it is so easy to fly with, and I think the quality is really good. 4K all the way up to 120 frames per second. It basically does everything that I need to tell stories, to put out information and entertainment online, and it doesn't require me to carry around a absolutely massive camera gear case. So I guess that's it for this quick video. If you guys have any questions on the Osmo Pocket 3 or anything else that you saw here, let me know in the comments down below. I'll try to answer anything as best as possible. And if you want some more in-depth videos on this specific camera, you can let me know, but also there is so much information out there right now on the Pocket 3. I've learned a lot from other creators who have been posting about them, and you guys can do that too. My main tips are highest resolution possible, 10-bit color, D-Log M, learn how to color grade, and use these microphones because it's much better than the onboard mic. So that's all that I got. If you guys are new to this channel, consider clicking subscribe and make new videos every single week. As always, thank you for watching. I'll talk to you in the next one.